friends, thank you for tuning in again. My name is Asha Pradeep. I'm a newborn baby maternity specialized photographer in Utrecht, Netherlands. Subscribe to my channel because you will be getting every week a video on something that you can learn from in the photography world. In the photography world, there are three pillars: ISO, shutter speed, and aperture. And each of these pillars have two functionalities. First one is the light. The second one for each of it will differ. This is the third video and it will be all about shutter speed.
Shutter speed is the amount of time the shutter is open and the measurement of time. It basically the timer for the light coming into the camera. The shutter speed is the length of the time the shutter curtain is open and the light is exposed to the sensor. Shutter speed is measured in the time increments ranging from full seconds to a fraction of a second, sometimes up to 1/8000. The larger the shutter speed, denominator, the faster the shutter opens and closes, exposing less light to the camera sensor. When you use a lower shutter speed, the shutter is opened longer and exposes more light to the image sensor. In addition to controlling light for proper exposure, shutter speed is also used artistically. You can use a very fast shutter speed to freeze the action, for example, a hockey game, or use a slower speed to create motion blur caused by a flowing water.
I'm a children photographer, so they move pretty fast. So that means that my shutter speed should be faster to capture all the details that is happening and there is no blur. So when you're really slowing down your shutter speed, you should also keep an eye that it is also blurring your motions a lot. So when it is pretty fast, when you want to capture, that means you're freezing that motion in that moment. There's a waterfalls, Niagara waterfalls during the night. So I wanted to capture the water to be frozen. So the action to be frozen, that means my shutter speed went really slow. So what happens then is that there is a lot of light which is coming in. So in the night, I can give more light to the details and also freeze the motion at the same time using my shutter speed. It is always measured in fraction of a second. So that means when you're looking to the shutter speed, you will always see it as 1/200th second. Has a lowest or the fastest is 30th second, that is 1/30th, and it can go up to 1/8000. So that means it is quite, it can stay long hours without clapping. Yeah. So some examples of the shutter speed: photos taken by the wildlife photographers, or photos taken by the people who wants to photograph the sky and the stars in the night, or the beautiful moon out there, or there can be photographers who wants to take the photos of a moving traffic in the night. As I explained you earlier in my first video, that is basics of the camera, there are different modes in your camera. So one of the mode is called a shutter speed mode, where you can change your shutter speed, but the camera decides or controls the ISO and the aperture. So you can still try and do a little bit of an experiment how this shutter speed works, and you will start understanding it more. As a portrait photographer, I'm mostly shooting inside my studio, and I use a flash, and for that my shutter speed cannot go beyond 1/200th second. So the reason is that if I go above that particular shutter speed, then there is a black stripe which starts showing up in my photos, which I don't want. So it's always below 1/200, or I normally keep it at 200. So that's the best setup for my studio. When you're outside, you can always take it according to the light and the situation that you are in. If you're shooting your children running around and playing, then you know it should be little more faster to capture all their activities, and also the photo to be very clear. Of course, when it comes to a waterfalls, you are going on a trip and you want to take those water droplets, and or you want to really freeze the waterfalls, then you know what should be your shutter speed. So it should be really slower shutter speed. So that's all about shutter speed. Do keep us informed about your opinion on these kind of videos. Also do comment on this video and ask me if you have any questions. I will see you in the next video. Thank you. Bye bye.